The machine is fitted with two air-cooled MIG torches, enabling one torch to be set up for steel or MIG braze, and the other for aluminium. To switch between torches, you need to press the trigger twice and the little LED will light up above the active torch. You then need the top left hand corner is the trigger function and wire speed settings. Press the button until the top LED with the up down arrows is set. This is normal, trigger on, trigger off welding mode.
Press the button again and you will enter wire feed mode. You will also notice NFS appear in the display to the right. This means the machine is in wire feed mode for feeding new wire through the torch in one go. You can now feed a new length of wire through the torch without stopping. If you try to do this in the normal trigger mode, the machine will stop after a couple of seconds as it's looking for an arc. If it then doesn't see one, it will shut down. To return to normal mode, simply keep pressing the button until the LED is next to the up and down symbol.
The last setting is Latch. This is used for long continuous welds and also for the hot start function welding aluminium. When this is selected, pressing your torch trigger will start the welding process. It will also enable the hot start function. The amount of hot start is preset in the program of the welder and it's fixed. More about adjusting the back programs later. Aluminium is cold in the weld pool when you start your welding. Hot start enables you to get a weld pool quicker. If you then release your trigger, the welding current will then drop to the setting you have selected, which is normal welding current. Then, when you want to finish your weld, simply press your torch trigger again. With the trigger pressed, you enter crater fill mode, where the current will slowly ramp down and reduce. This is designed for aluminium, so that you can fill any craters at the end of your weld. Aluminium expands and contracts massively. When you finish welding, the heat will be drawn out of the weld pool, creating a dip or crater. The function of reducing the welding current but still feeding the wire enables us to reduce this crater effect. Finally, to simply stop, release the torch trigger. This whole setting is commonly called 4T, 4 trigger or latch. Pressing the button again gives you gas test. This enables you to test your gas flow at the torch nozzle. Simply press your torch trigger to test. The next button is the function or mode button. The first symbol is of a MIG torch, and when the LED next to this is lit, you are in normal dip transfer welding mode. Press the trigger again and we have pulse welding. This is primarily used for aluminium welding, although it can also be used with MIG braze for filling slots. The next symbol is the double pulsed function. The welder will pulse weld and break, then weld and break. This creates the penny stacking effect on aluminium that you see. The fourth symbol is MMA. Selecting this enables you to use your MMA rods in the DINS connectors at the bottom of the machine. Lastly, this function is Tig Welding. This is very basic and is scratch start, but it is possible to use Tig Welding on this machine. Again, the torch is connected to the DINS connectors at the base of the machine. Remember, the TIG torch should be in negative and the earth clamp should be in the positive. The material settings are determined by your welding wire. This is so the welder can determine the correct welding parameters for you. Remember, each of these settings can also be used with the mode setting above, so you can have dip transfer or pulsed with each wire selected. The first setting is FE ferrous steel, ACT, automotive cold transfer. This is a special low current setting for the welding of thin automotive steels. Next is FE SG2, and this is normal mild steel welding. Next is Almg Aluminium. This is the hardest aluminium and contains magnesium. It tends to be found in strengtheners or chassis legs. Also, some alloy wheels are Almg. Then we have ALSI Aluminium. This type of wire has silicon in it and is softer, so tends to be used mainly on outer panels of vehicles. CUSI3 is the general mid-braze wire used by most manufacturers. CU Aluminium 8 is a rare wire that was first used by Peugeot. It generally isn't associated with vehicle body repair anymore. The wire setting is important and the one most people get wrong. It's an important setting as it will determine the machine giving you the correct welding parameters in the synergic panel below. Finally, we have the millimeter or synergic setting. This is an approximate setting of the material thickness to be welded. It is determined by all the parameters you have entered above, and it gives you a synergic welding graph of which the factory have determined the best voltage and wire speed for each parameter in millimeters. If you input one wrong, then this setting will be wrong. The millimeter or synergic setting is just that. It's a setting and must be the one you require for the weld you need to do. If, however, you need to adjust from this synergic setting, i.e. you need a little more wire, then you can simply adjust this using the meters per minute wire feed setting or change the voltage above. If you change the synergic thickness setting at any time, this adjustment will be lost and the display will return back to the factory setting. If you switch the machine off at any time, the setting that you had at the end will be the setting that will return when you switch back on. It memorizes. Finally, I mentioned before that we have back parameters that can be changed if desired. These include pre-gas, post-gas, hot start, ramp and much more. Generally, unless you are a professional welder, I wouldn't adjust these settings. If, however, you do want to alter them, then you simply press the up and down buttons of the ampere for 4 seconds. The display will change giving a 3-letter code. The parameters for that setting will be displayed below and can be adjusted using the up and down buttons. To save a setting, simply press the 2 ampere buttons again for 4 seconds. The instructions for these settings are found on the door of the wire feed unit as shown.